Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, people of goodwill. We bring greetings to every one of you with the name of Oputamono, with the name of Abasi, with the name of Olise, with the name of Chukwokike Abiama. Yeah, of course, like we noticed you earlier, that we'll be right back, that you should stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. And of course, we're back again. And of course, we are back with somebody whom you all have been waiting for, somebody whom you all have been waiting to see, somebody whom you all have been waiting to meet, of course. And I will believe that you have prepared whatever question you have for the person. We are here with this very evening from here. And I want to encourage you to encourage other people to join this very wonderful program that will be holding tonight. So, and as we're doing that, before we come and, make the introduction and also, proceed with what we have for you guys today, we have to, go for the national anthem, the Biafran national anthem. So from there, when we come back, of course, we will proceed in full. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All hail Biafra and lovers of freedom all over the world. We greet you all. We bring greetings to you all with the name of Oputamono, Chukwokike Abiama, Abasi, Olise, whatever you call it, in the wonderful and the ancient language of the Biafran people. So, yeah, of course, we are here with the person of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. And of course, before we will proceed, we are going to introduce to you everyone on your screen for you to be able, to to understand why we are here and the reason why we all gather here. Okay, we have somebody. I'm a moderator and I have a co-moderator with me here, the person of Idudu Oviemono, and of course I'm going to be giving him the opportunity to introduce himself. And likewise, I also have the person of Tamano Tonye, area of Tamano Tonye. We also have our mother, which I believe you all have been looking. Where is Oni? Biafrans all over the world. I've been searching for her. Yeah, she's here with us on Coastal Biafran TV Live with our father as well. Our father, the person of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. I'm not going to do the introduction myself. I'm going to give the opportunity for our comrades to do the introduction before we forge ahead direct to the what we have today. So I'll be starting by the person of Idudu Viemono. Please, Idudu, kindly introduce yourself by yourself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an honor and privilege to be here with Sir Phillip Effiong, the Junior. It's a lifetime privilege. I'm so happy to be here. My name remains Idudu Oviemono, and I'm Nisoko speaking Biafra in a place they call Delta State. But we are Biafran. And on behalf of the entire Isoko people, I am saying to Sir Phillip Jr., Sir Phillip Effiong, the Junior, meaning that may God bless you for honoring our invitation to come and address the Biafra at large, worldwide, and especially the coastal region of Biafra land. Thank you very much. All hail Biafra.
Biafra will healthy. Of course, we are getting there gradually. We have this person of Terminal 20. Please kindly take the mic and introduce yourself as a co-moderator who will be moderating with us tonight. Take the mic, Terminal.
Good day, my people. Good evening from here. Good day, afternoon or morning to wherever you may be, depending on your time zones. My name is Iria Tamotoye. I am an Izon speaking Biafran, and it is my most humble pleasure to be here with some of the greatest minds that I've ever come across in Biafra. And thank you so much for having me moderate this Asavo with the rest of you comrades.
Thank you very much, Area Otamono Tonye. I will quickly go to our mother, and yes, of course, she will be introducing herself by herself. Thank you very much. Only you can unmute yourself and kindly introduce yourself to the people who have been waiting to see the person under the radio Biafra. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here, and also glad to be in this program with the son of the first vice president of Biafra, who is the son of Phillip Effiong. We appreciate the sacrifices that your father made for Biafra. I am Madam Annie Redurishe Erewa. My baptismal name is what you are seeing on that screen, but I introduce myself by my traditional name, which is Annie Redurishe. And I am glad to be here. And thank you so much, the host, Onadite, and Idudu, and Terminal Toyn. I thank you all. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Oni. May God bless you and may your days be longer. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Yeah, we will be bringing up our father, the person of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. Please, sir, kindly introduce yourself to the viewers all over the world right now. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, my name is Phillip Uko Effiong. Both an Ibibio man as well as an Ukwani man. Ukwani is in Delta State. And I currently teach at at Michigan State University. I teach a range of humanities classes, even though I'm in theater studies. So that's what I'm currently doing now. And I think it's important to take note of the fact that I'm one out of 8 children. I am number 5. And if my siblings who are older than me or younger than me are not here, it is not because I am speaking for them. You know, there are various circumstances that either make it possible or not possible for people to be a part of a session like this. So I just wanted to make that clear, that I am not outshining my siblings. And when I speak, their spirit is here with me. So thank you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. You know, like Oni have said, we really appreciate the family of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. We really appreciate the family for the great sacrifice that the family, you know, has given to the people of Biafrans all over the world. So before I will be, you know, dropping the mic for the moderators today, you know, of course, the person of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. has introduced himself, and I will still use this opportunity to tell those who are watching us live and direct. I think some are watching on YouTube, Twitter, and as well on Facebook. So I will encourage us all to keep on sharing this very program. Share, and, you know, invite other people to be a partaker of this, because there are a lot of things that, in fact, there are a lot to learn this very evening, you know, from the real people of the coastal region of Biafra land. So I think I should go for the first question we have for today. You know, sir, we want you know to tell us whom Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. really is. You know, of course, some of our people just wrote in the comment section that, does this say he is from Kwane? And this is a Kwane guy. So they were very shocked. I will want you to, you know, try and introduce yourself in full, because I already have been seeing some kind of sentiment comments in the program right now, and some people, you know, for your first speech, they are already amazed that, oh, he's from Kwane. So please, sir, kindly take the mic and introduce yourself in full. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Ibibio. That's my father's ethnicity. My mother is from Ukwani in Delta State. Some people say Kwali. And I think it's important, and I've learned mainly from you young people, the importance of identifying all the ethnic identities that make you what you are. Because many of you introduce yourselves and you do that. So it's from you that I learned to do that. And I regret that most of my life I've not given recognition to the other side of me that comes from my mother. But let me say this, and I should have said this when I introduced myself at first. You have said very kindly how you honor my father, my family, for what we've done. I am also very honored to be here, and I'm very thankful. And at the end of the day, it just wasn't my father or my family, it was all of us. Whether you were there, if you weren't there, but your family was a part of it, you're a part of it, because your spirit, your blood, is with those before you, whether they are your parents or your grandparents. So it is not enough for me to sit down here and take credit. You must also be given credit. And I do appreciate the love and the opportunity that you've given me to come out here and share this space with you. So I want to say thank you very much, but I hope I made it clear about where I'm from. I don't believe in states, but because for the sake of just to make things easy, I will identify as Akwa Ibom and Delta. And with the Bibios coming from Akwa Ibom, and some people say Ikaibo, many people from Ukwani and Nyocha, all those places, they don't define themselves as Ikaibo. They define themselves as, you know, coming from particular places or particular ethnic locations, in spite of the fact that they have strong Igbo affiliations. So I hope that makes it clear as far as introducing myself and my ethnic makeup.
Yes, sir, we do understand that, and thank you for giving us that background. We're very, very grateful once again to have you here. So, we would like to ask, perhaps, can you tell us if you know or have any idea of the events that led up to, you know, the war? So, if you can highlight, you know, the events for us that led up to the Biafran genocide, sir.
There are several factors. You know, I probably wouldn't get through all of them, but we know that the fabrication, the way Nigeria was fabricated, it was put together not by people who love us, people who didn't know us, people who didn't respect us. They created those artificial boundaries and then lumped people together under a central authority. But we are people who've always lived independently. And so you put us under a central authority that now determines and tries to decide how we run our lives, how we control our resources. You know, they try to control our institutions. And that would eventually create conflict because we would now begin to compete with one another. Whereas before, when we were not within these artificial boundaries, we traded with one another. We exchanged languages, we intermarried. Sometimes we had conflicts, but we usually made up because we continued to interact through trade and marriage, learning each other's languages. You see a lot of cultures across that region. You find Igbo people who have the Ekpe society. You have Ibibio people who have Ekpe society. You have Efik people who have Ekpe society. That's just one example. So that was the main reason why that war happened. But it was aggravated by specific issues. One was the wrong, erroneous accusations of Igbos as being the cause of the first coup, or the ones who engendered and carried out that coup. You know, some Igbos played major roles, but you had other people. Even the governor, former governor of Benue Plateau, Atompera, he was a lieutenant. He was about 25 years old. That's not an Igbo person. Ademoyega is not an Igbo person. He participated in that coup. And then when we talk about the rank and file, the non-commissioned officers, a lot of them were from the north and different parts of the country. So that became a trigger to now go after Igbos and start to massacre them, not only in the north, but mainly in the north. We should also remember that as we began to compete, we became territorial and we got into ethnic conflicts. Some people were aggravating the hatred. The former, the premier of the north, Sir Amadou Bello, for instance, there's a video of him expressing his absolute hatred for Igbos and that the fact that he didn't want them in the north. You know, this is a powerful man. He was spiritually or religiously powerful and politically powerful. So that was long before the first coup. So we need to realize that even though that first coup has been used as an excuse, that the hatred was already building up. And so it was convenient to use the first coup and then to use Decree 34. The unitary, I believe, decree by when Ironsi was in power. But if you ask many people who went out and killed Easterners and Igbos what Decree 34 was about, they probably couldn't tell you. So these were some of the factors. And then, of course, we understand that the governor of the Eastern region, Colonel, later on General Ojukwu, asked fundamental questions. He was an Igbo man himself. The new government that came into power targeted Igbos. So naturally, he would be suspicious. He wouldn't feel comfortable around them. And so he asked questions. And he was the only one, the only individual in all of Nigeria who stood up for those people that were being massacred. So we need to give him credit for that. Now, thankfully, Ghana would organize a peace talks, which the governor participated in, and agreed to all the terms. And the terms were going to limit the power of the central government or the federal government. But I think we know that they came back and reneged on that. And what we needed at that point was reassurance. That was not reassurance. And then to make things worse, they went ahead and created new states as well as East Central State for the Igbos without consulting the Igbos, without defining how they had, demarcated those boundaries. And in the process, the one person that Igbos had looked up to up until that point, General Ojukwu, was declared a non-entity and replaced by an administrator, a civilian administrator, Asika. So all these continued to, the reassurance that the people needed was lost at that point. And so it was at that point that they felt like we have done all we need to do to find peace with this new administration. And so the state of the country, the nation of Biafra, was created. But even after it was created, there was still room for negotiations. And yet, they declared war, called it police action. And the military arsenal that came upon Biafra was so huge. It hasn't been used against Boko Haram. It hasn't been used against the Fulani that are unleashing so much destruction to various parts of the country. And remember, the state of Biafra, you agree, you disagree with it, had not embarked on any kind of military operations. So negotiations would have been possible. But at this point, when the guns started shooting, when the bombs started landing, the guns were being used on us, the grenades, the rockets, we had no choice but to fight back. And that's what human beings do. You're pushed to the wall. You don't just sit down there and watch yourself being destroyed. Remember that the lives of a lot of the people had already been destroyed in the north. And they came back home, feeling that they could be safe at home. And so the message now was, even in your own home, you won't be safe. And so we should understand why at that point people were so bitter and angry and decided enough is enough. We're going to fight back.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Okay, the person of Idodo is coming in. Okay, just come in with the what you have for our father here. So just go ahead, sir. Idodo.
Thank you very much. Once again, it's a privilege to be here with the son of our hero, the first vice president of Biafra land and the second president of Biafra land. For those who are trying to, antagonize the Biafra struggle to be an Igbo affair. And it's a privilege to add to my learning, or should I say my book of record today, that Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. is also from Delta State, which I came from. And my question goes like this. Some few coasterners are saying that General Ojukwu, alongside with General Phillip Effiong, did not consult the entire coast before embarking to defend the people of Biafra land. I don't know if you have, should I say, information concerning that in details to also enlighten people who have those, should I say, a mindset. And not just only that, they are also trying to Igbonize it, like the Biafra struggle is an Igbo affair. So my question is this. I believe your father is well read. He studied outside the country. That means his parents were ever well to do to send him to school to acquire knowledge. Also, the person of our internal leader, General Chukwuemeka Dumegu Ojukwu, they all study outside and they were not lacking. Because people will say that it's out of greed, but you never saw. They did it out of necessity to defend the people of Biafra. So people who are trying in all means to make sure that the legacy of Sir Phillip Effiong is swept under the carpet in aspect of trying to Igbonize the Biafra struggle to be an Igbo struggle, whereas it was the consultant of the person of General Chukwuemeka Dumegu Ojukwu and the person of General Phillip Effiong. It was under their leadership. Sir, please, I would like you to address the entire world on that, because the legacy of Sir Phillip Effiong will never and can never be swept under the carpet. All hail Biafra.
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, as a matter of fact, just to make a point about my father's personal life, he was actually from a humble family, and at some point had to drop out of school and registered as a GCE candidate from home, and actually bought books, bought the syllabus, and took that exam from home. And that is what qualified him, after he passed that exam, to go into the officer corps. Before then, he actually rose from the ranks. He went into the army as a private. But yes, you're right that at some point, you know, on gaining his GCE, he would have the opportunity to go abroad and get his military training and good education in places like Germany and the United Kingdom and other places. Having said that, you know, it is anybody. First of all, let people look at the makeup of what we have here today. People look at those who are interviewing me today. How many of them are Igbos? Am I Igbo? You know, that is a fallacy. That whole thing that this was an Igbo, whatever. Unfortunately, some of our people are buying into it and are actually turning against Igbos for that reason. If you look at people that were killed during the second coup, Major Ekanem, Major Isong. There's another name. There's someone. There was Major Rock. There was I'm trying to remember the name of someone from what is today the present Rivers State, and many others that people don't want to focus on because they want to make it seem as if it was just Igbos. Or what about the governor of the Western region? I'm trying to remember his name. The man that was, and if someone remembers his name, let me know. He was with Ironsi when Ironsi was abducted. The name will come back. Fajuyi, that's his name. Yeah, Colonel Fajuyi. That's a Yoruba man that was killed. So the attacks, you can say in many ways they were primarily against Igbos, but they were not against Igbos because Igbos are Igbos. They were against Igbos because what they thought Igbos represented. These are the people that will challenge and prevent our complete domination and ownership of power. That's how they saw the Igbos, as people who wanted to control everything and take over power. And so anyone they felt was playing that role of trying to prevent them from gaining full power, they went after those people. That's why Fajuyi was killed. That's why there were attempts on my father's life. And my father had to flee from Kaduna in disguise and go to Lagos and eventually escape from Lagos to the east. Is he an Igbo man? No, my father can hardly make could hardly make a sentence in Igbo. You look at the structure, the leadership of Biafra, the secretary to the government, Enu Akpan and Ibibio man as well. You look at people who play diplomatic roles like Mr. Kobara. I think he's an Ogoni man. Or think about the person who even came up with the name Biafra, Chief Opigo. Or think about one of the major propagandists in Biafra, Okokondem. Think about one of the greatest respected field commanders, Colonel Achibong. How many of these people are Igbos? You know, so it is ridiculous. And that's how the Eastern government was on several levels. I agree, you know, with people who say, well, you know, the Igbos occupied, you know, many key positions. That's true, but not only the Igbos. You know, there were many others, some of whom I've mentioned, and the people I've mentioned were already in the Eastern government. There's the late Ekogin Ambasi, a lawyer. He was also quite significant in the Eastern region, played a number of diplomatic roles before the war. And in the war, I think he headed the Anang province and was also a militia officer. And a lot of these people were together in that body that came and demanded that it is time for us to break away. We're not wanted in this country. We need reassurance. We need safety. We're not getting it. And so we can't continue to exist in fear. We can't continue to exist in a situation where our lives are constantly destroyed. You know, I was a little boy in Enugu before the war. And that's where some of the earliest battles took place. And I remember people marching on the streets and they were singing, you know, we are Biafrans fighting for survival in the name of Jesus. We shall conquer. And I remember those people. Sometimes we'll just march beside them. A lot of them were from a range of backgrounds. You could see traders there. You could see landlords. You could see teachers. So this nonsense about this thing being about the Igbos and the Igbo elite is crap. It's absolute crap. And it's one of those distortions that people use not just to denigrate Biafra, but to divide us as well. It's not working for me and it never will. I hope I answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. You've really answered the question. But before my other comrades go for the next question, concerning what you were saying, you said you see people. You know, I just want you to make this specifically. You said you see people on the street marching, singing. We are Biafrans marching for our freedom. Now, I want you to make it very clear shortly. Who are the people singing? Are they the Igbos? Are they the Coasterners? Who are these people you're talking about?
Look, if think about the fact that the mayor of Enugu was a northerner. He was a Hausa man before all this nonsense happened. If the mayor was a Hausa man, what are the chances that you had people from everywhere in Enugu? Not just because it was the capital of the Eastern region, but because of what Enugu represented as a commercial center. It attracted people from everywhere. It was ahead of its time. There were a lot of businesses that people brought from outside. So a lot of the people I'm talking about, you know, I mean, I've mentioned the leadership of Biafra. If you think about the leadership, it will tell you about what the rest of the people, what the demographics of Enugu or the Eastern region was. You know, there is no way you would have, say, the secretary being an Ibibio man without Ibibio people being in Enugu. You know, Ibibio people were everywhere, you know, as well as people from other ethnic nationalities. And when you listen to the people marching, sometimes they would sing in Igbo, sometimes they would sing in English, because some of the people marching could not sing in Igbo. They were learning Igbo, but they had not mastered Igbo. That's why you had a lot of some of the songs in Biafra being sung in English, because that was for the sake of people who couldn't speak Igbo very well. So who were those people? That's my question. So, you know, I think that answers the question. You know, these people were from a range of demographic, you know, if you look at the demographics, they were from a range of backgrounds. So again, that thing about Igbo is nonsense. Unfortunately, I've even been to conferences where people who should know better come and sing that same theme, and it's doing us a disservice.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that, you know, enlightenment. You know, before I go back to my co-moderators again, you know, your father was, you know, the first vice president and the second president of Biafra. Due to your position as a son of our former head of state, you know, we want you to, you know, try to highlight some of the events that actually happened during the war that is not yet in the public, you know, as a son to such personality, you know, there are some things that is not yet in the public that, you know, you can have access to. And you know, there's something that I love most. I did not really inform you about this earlier. When there's one of your video that I actually viewed where you are, you know, bringing down some kind of old map, old caps of our great general Sir Phillip Effiong. You know, bringing out all these things. You know, I was very touched, and you know, I was like, wow, all these things are still existing. So what are the things you think that are not yet in the public domain that may be helpful to educate our people on how they suppose or on how they need to perceive the struggle of Biafra?
Well, for a long time, this story, there were efforts to sweep this story under the carpet. You know, I met a friend of mine, there was a Yoruba friend of mine in Nairobi, Kenya, that called me once and said, I want to learn about this war because I studied history in Nigeria. I studied history, and I can tell you about the Second World War. I can tell you about the First World War. I can tell you about the Vietnam War. I can tell you about the American Civil War. But this war that happened in my backyard, I don't know anything about it, and we never talked about it. So there has been that effort, and even though the story is gradually coming out, some of the bitter things, the details that you're asking about have not yet come out. One of them we now know is the Asaba massacre. And the Asaba massacre, I have a book that's about 300 pages. When people talk about it, they just talk about it in 2 sentences. But when you go into that book and you see the details, you know, it is amazing that Asaba was able to recover. They say about 700 young men and boys, but there were probably more than that. At a point, their bodies were on the streets, were being eaten by vultures. And because a lot of homes lost their men and boys, the girls and the women were vulnerable, and the soldiers had a field day raping them. Some people have said, well, the soldiers married them. You know, it depends on how you want to look at the story. First of all, for a lot of those young women and girls, if they didn't submit to the soldiers would take them. So they put this whole thing about, you know, the soldiers would now pretend as if they married them and say the girls said yes. And they would ask the girls, you want to marry this soldier? Of course she can't say no. They'll either rape her or they'll kill her. So, and Chinua Achebe, the great author, in his book, Another Country, writes about this part of the war that we don't know, that people don't talk about a lot, the violation of our girls and women. He talks about how after the war, when the Nigerian soldiers, you know, they were completely, they completely dominated everywhere. You know, Biafrans were completely at their mercy. And sometimes they would go into a home and take out the girls, the daughters. And for weeks, the families won't see them. They would take them out and use them as sex slaves. These are some of the details we need to talk about. You know, so, and then, although people talk about Asaba, there are many other instances where civilians were lined up and killed. I have a friend, I believe he's from Abakaliki. That's why he joined the army to fight, because he witnessed the killing of his people. And he was a boy, even though he was a boy, he was so distraught, so angry, he went and enlisted and joined the army. So there are many instances like that. We need to put together the figures of people that were lost in air raids targeting civilians. One of the worst was in Aguleri, I believe that's where it was, where in a single day, about 500 civilians lost their lives. They used to go to the marketplaces. As a matter of fact, once during the war, when we were in Umuahia, my mother and the wife of the former head of state, Mrs. Ironsi, went to the market in Umuahia. And you know how big our markets are, and that's where the plane came and was bombing. Fortunately, they came out, you know, with their lives. But the attacks on civilians, you know, many people will tell you that it was war, but wars have rules. The reason why we condemn Hitler is not because he fought against American soldiers or British soldiers, but it is what he did to civilian Jews. That's his crime. So these crimes against civilians, we need to unmask them a little bit more. We need to dig deeper and expose them, and not just expose them as they happened during the war, but after the war as well, especially the rape on girls and women. So there's a lot. I probably haven't touched on a fraction of the atrocities, but that's probably a place to start from.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very, very much. That is more, you know, that is very deep. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, let me quickly bring in my co-moderator, the person of Idudu, to release what is with him over there. Please, Idudu, take the floor.
Yeah. You will bear with me, sir, because the question I'm about to throw it looked like we've asked it already before, but it have to just conjoin with the question I want to ask right now. And please, you just try as much as possible to address it in your own way. And now, the question goes like this: for decades now, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has been doing some great underground job for the unity of Biafran people before he founded this great movement called IPOB, which means the indigenous people of Biafra. Since then, the world has been discussing about Biafra, including those who swore not to do so, like the Nigeria media, and in fact, the world at large right now, they do. Despite the great awareness, few people, most especially the so-called elite, who are benefiting and getting fatter from the misery and suffering of their own people, are now trying to label the struggle an Igbo struggle. Despite the fact that in the IPOB structure of today, I can confirm to you that the coastal Biafra are the ones occupying some of the most important and decision-making positions. What is your take in this? And what is your message to the people at large and Biafra at large, the coasterners at large? Like some of the position, I can give example, like the person of the African rep, which happened to be an Izoman, the Lagos State coordinator, which is also a principal officer, and Isoko man. Our mother here, Madam Erewa, who is also a member of the DOS. In fact, the list go on and on and on and on. So I would like you to address it in your way, because I know I've told this question before, but it just has to go with some other questions that we are on board. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And maybe I should have said this earlier, but if you look at the generational representation here, I should have acknowledged Madam Josephine, who obviously saw that war in a way that many of us will not witness it. You know, people have tried to make it seem as if young people are just, you know, impulsive and they're just wild and stuff. But here is an elderly woman that must be respected. What is it that would drive her? What is it that would drive her to feel like self-determination is something that we must continue to aspire for? You know, it's not about young people only. It's not about any group of people. It's not about Igbos. It's about self-determination. And if you look at most of us here, we come from lands that provide Nigeria with majority of its wealth. and people have called us minorities, and we're tired of that. By the way, you also have oil on Igbo land, so let's not let's make that fact clear, because it's also being used against the Igbos, the fact that they want to come and take other people's oil. But I say all of this to say basically that I understand, and it was bound to happen, that people would rise up. My father said it. He said, if you don't treat these Biafrans well, their children will rise up. So anybody that is acting as if they are surprised, they're either ignorant or they don't want to face reality. Now, one of the things I praise IPOB and other pro-Biafran groups for, because I know there have been others, is that they have finally brought this story to light. They played a key role, so they must be commended for doing that. Otherwise, nobody would care about the tragedy of our history. A lot of people talk about Chimamanda's Half of a Yellow Sun as bringing the story to light. In a sense, yes. But even her book received the attention it did, partly because of pro-Biafran groups and struggles. What's wrong with... Now, people can afford to disagree with you. That's fine. In every society, even in our families, we disagree. But people don't have a right to silence you, to condemn you, to judge you, or to kill you. Because in every democracy, you should have the right to express yourself, and you have the right to disagree. What's most important is that we listen to one another, and we find a way to find a common ground. When you talk about the elites, whether it's within parts of our various states there in the former Eastern region, and others that have positions at the federal level, we need to recognize that you have to be strong to be exposed to so much perks and privilege and stand for the truth. Very few people do that. And when people do that, they generally lose those positions, or they're not appointed to those positions. Now, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be appointed to positions of authority, but when we're appointed to those positions, we need to recognize that we're representatives not of ourselves, but of the people. So when the people rise up and begin to agitate, like IPOB and other groups, what you need to do is give them a space. What a true leader does is create space for dialogue. That is not the case, and that is my problem. It doesn't mean that we have to all be in agreement. It doesn't mean that we all have to believe in the same thing, but we have to believe in the importance of the survival of humanity, and that's what should bring us together. It bothers me a lot when I see attacks and conflict amongst ourselves. I hear of say Ohaneze and members of IPOB and things like that. It really breaks my heart, because in reality, we have nothing to be fighting against ourselves for. We should be finding a way to connect in a meaningful way. But like I've said, we're not good at listening. The way Nigeria has a culture of violence, if you don't like it, you either destroy it, or you kill it, or you condemn it, or you abuse it. So there's little room for dialogue. We say we're in a democracy, but half the time our democracies are ruled by former dictators whose mindsets have not changed. And they bring that same mindset into these issues. So don't be surprised when soldiers are sent to attack civilians. That's the culture that we have created for ourselves. But look at what's happening. Now that culture of violence is going viral, and there are very, very few people who are immune to that culture. Many people who didn't care have to care now, because the violence is coming to them, if you look at the situation that Nigeria is at. So if we can return to a space and create a space where we say, you know what, we disagree, but we'll listen, and we'll find a way to, even if we disagree, to disagree respectfully, and in the process think of the larger survival of our humanity. You know, that for me would be a good place to start from. Unfortunately, we have this culture that, and I don't know how easy it will to break this culture of condemning, of killing, of flogging, of brutalizing people when they rise up and say what you don't believe in or what you don't agree with. And let me also just say this. Another major problem we have is a lot of us are selfish hypocrites, including people that are touting themselves as freedom fighters. Where were these freedom fighters when the violence was happening to other people? A lot of them are only speaking now because the violence has come to them. So we must come to that point where the problem of the job person is my problem. The problem of the Efik person is my problem. The problem of the Igbo person is my problem. The problem of the elderly is my problem. The problem of young people is my problem. But we're not like that. We generally don't care about other people's problems until the problem comes to us. Unfortunately, the violence is now coming to people who refuse to appreciate our tragedy and violence, and maybe they understand how we felt and how we're still feeling.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me quickly bring in my sister Area Otamonotoyi. Please do the needful. Thank you very much. Take the mic.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to ask Oni on her take on our conversation so far. She has listened to quite some of the questions that our father, Phillip Effiong, the junior, has answered. So I'd like to ask her on her take for his own perspective so far and her own perspective on the matter.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. I like when I speak from experience. I use my experience to let people see and realize and become educated. I was born in the East, me and my sisters, and my father, who is an Ichekiri, because based on why I'm going to use my experience is to let you all know, all the listeners know, that whether Ichekiri, Urobo, how do we look at ourselves? When I was growing up, I know I'm Eastern region, because I was born in the East. My father, who is an Ichekiri, my mother, who is an Urobo, my father was of the education, and my mother was a trader. So my father was stationed in the East. Please take note of what I'm saying now. Just mark that point. He was stationed in the East, as you know, because he's of the education. And he was transferred from one part of the, from either Onitsha to Enugu to Umuahia. So I was born in Enugu. The twins were born in Onitsha. My elder sister was born in Umuahia. It was only my youngest sister who passed away in 1999, who was born in Edo after my father had retired, before even Nigeria was ever, independent. So I was very little when my father retired and went back, and then went to Edo to settle. So all I know is that my mother spoke Igbo very fluently. She recognizes the different accent in the Igbo because she was, wherever they transfer my father to, that's where she goes. And so we came in, all we know is we Igbos, Edo, Izon, Ishan, you know. I never know any other, you know, interact with any other than it was during when this Nigeria also independence, before I started seeing whether all this Fulani, they look so strange. They will hold like it and be working in Benin. When I was enrolled in school, because I was so little when our father went back, you know, you have to use your hand, your right hand above your head to reach your ears to enroll in school. So I started with standard school. The driving at that time was left hand. We are Igbo, we are all Eastern region. That's how we introduce, that's how we Eastern region. You know, and they said the sun rises in the east and the sun sets in the west, you know. So this is what I understood as I was growing up. You know, worry, when I see worry now, my heart is broken. Because when I was little, you know, you have the Ethiop River and the Pontu will be coming, and, you know, you cross with canoe, because I attended Okotiabo Grammar School. After, it's Okotiabo Grammar School now, but the school at that time is Zix Academy Sapele, you know, and that school was started by Festus Okotiabo, and unfortunately now, you know, I used to be so proud of that name, but after knowing the role he played, it's so disappointing. But by, you know, Nnamdi Azikiwe, they started that school, though the name has changed now to Okotiabo Grammar School in Sapele. So just take note of all this. Nothing like one foreign name. Whether I know we are working with Oduduwa now, but I never came in contact with Yoruba at any point in time. Even when in school, we do what you call traditional cultural dance. It is always Igbo, Ishekiri, Urobo, Izon. You know, these are the Edo, Isha. These are the dance that you know, we dance for annual dance cultural in school. You know, nothing like, with all due respect here, nothing like Yoruba dance, nothing like Fulani or Hausa or all those places, because we never came in contact. My mother was going to Onitsha for business, okay? So everything was within the Eastern region, So that should tell anybody that the Eastern region is the bite of Biafra, and it's Biafra. So anyone that will be saying that Igbo is Biafra and all that is a bogus lie. It's part of the divide and conquer that they came up with. Actually, I started coming to know about Yoruba or Fulani is when the independence, when the Nigerian independence was about to start, and you know, around the 1960, my father died August 1960, before Nigerian independence, okay, in Edo. And a lot of things changed during this time. Everything now turned from, even the left-hand drive turned to right-hand drive, you know, because there was a time it was left-hand drive. And then during this independence, standard school changed from standard to primary. All these are changes that occurred in the course of this whole Nigerian whatever, you know. And how do we know? When I was little, how do I know I'm in Warri? I'll tell you. You see the streets in Warri, it has lights. Because when my uncle comes to pick us and we are coming to do holiday. The minute we see light, you know, the road, you will see light really shining on the road, and we say, we don't enter worry, now worry with this. Now, you know, so there are so many lucrative things that were happening, all have died in the course of this. Okay, so I just want to use this to share that anybody who will be talking about South and Niger, and whether na Royal Niger, Company Delta and all that, all those were never at all. Not when I was growing up. Okay, during the war, when the war came, I was now in, you know, I was in high school or secondary school, as we call it, in Sapele. And, you know, we didn't know. You see, we were very biased. I must say this. We were very biased because the way they did it in such a way. It is now I came to understand that the propaganda that was used to hateful propaganda against the Igbo was to victimize the Igbo. We knew ourselves as Eastern region. We didn't really know that the Eastern region is Bight of Biafra. And so we didn't know it's Biafra. So we just look at ourselves that we are Eastern region. So what they did was they made us to think. They made us to think that the word Biafra is a bad word. They made us to think that the word Biafra is a rebel word. And then they made us to think that they used the word Biafra to stigma. It became a stigma type of name against Igbo people. So we didn't know this. I came to know this. And I must say that the way they did it in such a way that they made us to hate Igbo. I am saying this because I'm a witness and I was a part of it. You know, they made us to hate Igbo people that myself talking right now to you all. Honest to God, I raise my hand here. Honestly, I wouldn't want to sit with an Igbo person. You know, I will not want to sit with an Igbo person. That's how much they bias my mind. And they poison us, you know, to hate Igbo so much. But the people we grew up with, where I was born and raised, my mother was going to Onitsha to do market, come back. Igbos now we all they interact. Igbos now we get for neighbors, for church now Igbo people now we all they do things together with Robo, Ishekiri and all. You know, suddenly, when they can't start this, when Nigeria can't start now, everything is changed. The next thing now is my mother wasn't even going to Onitsha anymore to trade. You know, now Lagos, now she will go. She usually will go to Onitsha, come back the same day. Now she will go to Lagos, spend 2 days before she will come and all this. Many businesses changed. Many businesses were taken away. You know, so there were many things. So anybody
Exactly.
who will say, excuse me?
No, go ahead, Mama.
No, go ahead with me.
Oh, thank you. Anybody who will say that Biafra, Eastern region, na Igbo, na the deceive when they come deceive us. Because I was born in the East, in Enugu. Now they born me as a little child, you know. And now Easterners, Igbos, now we all they do things together. They come do them in such a way that to make it look like say Igbos now be Eastern. And now, and you know, because I was little and I was growing up and all those thoughts wasn't coming. It is now. And I so thank our leader, His Excellency Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that has come to open our eyes. Now I can't know now, say Eastern region, now all of us now be Eastern regions, all of us now be bite of Biafra, all of us now be Biafra. So anybody where would they talk about Niger Delta and all that garbage and all that nonsense, excuse the expression, all that you see that they don't know what the heck they are talking about, or they are part of the Nigeria and trying to come up with divide and conquer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Oni.
Thank you very, very much, Oni. I think let me bring in my sister Tamino to do the needful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Oni, for sharing some of your experiences with us. Very, very treasured. So I would like to ask Sir Phillip Effiong, may I ask, sir, to your own knowledge, was there any altercation or any face-off either before the war, during, or after the war between our Itanande, Dimo Dimebo Ojukwu, and your father?
Thank you. But before I say that, let me just comment, Madam Josephine. I like when she veered off into pidgin English, saying that they deceive where they can't deceive us. You know, everything we do with Igbo people, we chop with them, we sleep with them, we do business with them, we marry themselves. You know, so thank you so much, Madam. I really appreciate your experience. It is invaluable, and we'll continue to learn from you. Do you mind, Tamino Tonya, before I just answer that question, let me say some things that I think are very important here. You know, in addition to what Madam Josephine has said, let's remember that if you went to Enugu at a point, I don't know if things have changed, you had an Akpabio street, you had an Imoke street. You know, that's how we lived. Why would Akpabio street be there except that there was a presence of Anang and Ibibio people that were respected and that were part of the leadership of the Eastern region. And let's also remember that part of the struggle, which you know, but I think it's good to reiterate these things for those listening. We produce the oil. But is there anybody here that can truly say, I've gained from the wealth of the oil produced on my land? No. I lived in Port Harcourt, and for a while, at a point, as a young person, we used to go into those rural areas, you know, looking for where we'll get good fish pepper soup. And you see the waterways all brown. Crops couldn't grow anymore. You know, so this is, let people understand that the battle that people are fighting, they wouldn't have to fight them if there were solutions. And I usually don't do this in sessions like this, but I thought I should point that out and point out the fact, even though Madame has talked about how we were interconnected, we also believed in connecting with people beyond the East. A lot of the Easterners that came back as refugees after they were massacred could not even speak Igbo. Many of them could speak the dominant language of the North, which was Hausa. A lot of them learned Igbo only when they came back. So let people go and think about that. So sorry, Tamino Tonya, as far as my father and General Ojukwu, ironically, Ojukwu's mother and my grandmother, my mother's mother, actually knew each other long before the war. They knew each other. They were friends in Zaria, because my mother's mother was a businesswoman, and I believe Ojukwu's mother was probably a businesswoman as well. So it has nothing to do with the war, but I'm just saying it's an interesting coincidence. Now, my father actually joined the war before Ojukwu and rose through the ranks. Ojukwu came in with a master's degree. So my father was actually a little ahead of him, but you know, at some point they were all colonels together, and the camaraderie in the army at that time was remarkable. There was nothing about who was a Yoruba officer or who was an Ijaw officer or who was an Efik officer. it was really a family. And my father tells the story of the first officer, Lieutenant Uboma, an Igbo man who everybody was just, all Nigerian officers looked up to him, or they weren't yet the officers. He was the first officer, but they all aspired. They looked at him and they were, you know, they were all inspired, is what I meant to say. Like, one day we'll be like this man. Now, during the war, or before the war, as should be expected, you know, when people talk about disagreements between my father and Ojukwu, let's think about our families. Sometimes we disagree with our brothers, our sisters, our wives, our husbands, our parents. It doesn't mean that the efficacy of the family, that the principles on which the family is built, is completely lost. Of course, there were times when the leadership of Biafra were in disagreement. Oh, should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? And sometimes it happened between my father and General Ojukwu. But don't forget that General Ojukwu, during the war, was his boss. So he never insulted him, because there would be consequences, of course. So they disagreed, and he disagreed, but disagreed respectfully with General Ojukwu. And people have tried to highlight some of those disagreements and make it seem as if Biafra was dysfunctional, you know, or this shows that Biafra was rubbish or whatever. Look, listen, there's disagreement. In Nigerian government right now, there are disagreements. You go to our churches, there are disagreements. You go to our businesses, there are disagreements. So it would be unusual if there were no disagreements. There were disagreements because they are human beings. But the most important thing is that they firmly believed in the right of the people to be protected and for the self-determination of the people. That is the outstanding thing that they believed in, and that's what the focus should be on, not in the disagreements. You know, I disagree with my my older brother, and then you highlight that and make it seem as if our family is nonsense. No, we disagree, and that way we grow. That, you know, I disagree with my brother, but I still love my brother to death. My brother is still my family. If my brother is in need, I'll give my brother. If I'm in need, my brother will still give me. You don't just completely condemn a family because of disagreements. Disagreements are part of human nature. And so, yes, you did have them, but the respect remained. And like I said, the absolute belief and the agreement that they had the right to secure the safety of the people and to struggle for their freedom is something that that bonded them, you know, completely. You know, so the disagreements here and there, you know, that's irrelevant. That's how people talk about the disagreement between Eyoita, Professor Eyoita, and Dr. Azikiwe, and make it seem as if Igbo people and Efik people, you know, were quarreling. No, that's a disagreement between two politicians. You know, let it be. You know, so I don't know if I answered the question, Tamono, and I'm sorry that I went off at first and talked about other things that I thought were relevant.
Thank you very much.
That's
of course,
right,
you
sir.
did.
Thank you very much, sir.
You did. Let me quickly use this opportunity, you know, to bring in my comrade, Comrade Dudu Biemono, to you know, to unleash what he has with him. And you know, of course, you know, very soon we'll be opening our lines. We'll be giving the viewers the opportunity to throw questions to our father here, and even our mother, because there are a lot of people who have been waiting for this time. So there will be a lot of calls coming in, and we are going to present the number to call as soon as possible, so that we will not take much of the time of our father here with us. So can you please just come in and take the mic into the needful? Thank you. Unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry because I'm trying to calculate a lot of things. My questions go like this, sir. We have first class communication with our people in the coastal region, most especially the ordinary people from all nationalities in the coast. Most of them have embraced the struggle, but some of them are afraid to identify with us in the open. What message do you have for them, especially the Akwa Igbo people, the Ibibio, and also, you know, your mother's side, which we say our in-law, and also entire coastal Biafran, and also the entire Biafra, I will say. So, sir, please address this issue and also encourage them in your own way. Those who are afraid to identify with us in the, you know, who are afraid to take the bull by the horn. Thank you very much, sir.
I think what you should be most concerned about is people identifying with you ideologically, maybe not with names, because there are some people that are going to say they don't want to use the name Biafra. It may not be agreeable to you, but you need to respect them. And, you know, the labels, we can emphasize on the labels eventually. But the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, is the ideology. We need to convince and understand that we have a common struggle. And that struggle is the mismanagement of our resources. We're being impoverished. We're being denied power. We're being denied the control of our institutions. We're being dominated. And we're being made to feel insecure in our own lands. I think that's the message that should go out. A lot of people, and the vast majority of people, including people from you know, whether it's Delta or Akwa Ibom, and Akwa Ibom, not just the Ibibios, you have the Oron people, you have the Efik people, and then if you go up to Cross River, you even have a lot more. You know, a lot of these people are in the same struggle with you. They may just not be using the same channel or the same rhetoric, the same language you're using. So I think a lot has to do with revisiting the language we use so that we can, and it wouldn't take too much, I don't think, to convince ourselves that our struggles are similar. The vast majority of our people are hardworking people, but we don't have channels with which to express and explore our skills and creativity, and so many of us are stifled. You know, we need to understand that that struggle is the same from one end of the eastern region to the other, and even across the country. So for me, it is the rhetoric, and we can and we can begin to welcome or engage people who may also be in the same struggle but have slightly different opinions. Okay? We can't be rigid, in other words, is what I'm saying. We can't be rigid and say it has to be like this, and if it's not like this, nothing else works. We have to be more open. You know, look at, like I've said, look at the people here. They've said this is Igbo people. How many of you are Igbos? When General Ojukwu died, someone flew me from Nairobi, Kenya to Georgia in the United States to attend an event. That was an Ibibio man like myself. So people ideologically are already prepared for this struggle. But let us give more room for flexibility and allow people to come in with different labels and maybe slightly different views of how we need to go. But the struggle is the same struggle. And if we can emphasize and get that message across, I think we'll begin to grow. I really think so.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Before I hand over the microphone to the other comrade, I would like to, you know, throw a little light on what you have just said and your answer to my question in terms of giving, you know, rooms for different view and opinion when it comes to the struggle. Yes, of course, we have been doing that. We have not only anchored this project on just on resource, you know, taking using our resource for our people and that. In fact, one of the major, you know, should I say, a point of view we're having is in terms of security, justice for the people. Like when you look at what the Fulani are doing in our land today, the raping, killing of our mothers, sisters, wives in their farmland where they are doing their farm work. You know, using their cattle to do open grazing, destroying our plantains, cassava, yams, and potatoes. These are In fact, we are not even talking about even the oil spillage yet. We are not even talking about, we have not gotten the oil money yet. We are talking about even in our own poor state of trying to manage our agriculture. These are some of the things that we are giving to the open, to the public, so that they can also know some of the things that, that some of the injustice that we are having in our land. So, and we also give open rooms. Like, for example, if you want to debate, like Mazina Dekano, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, say that, Biafra may come and join. Come, if you have any grievances, bring your grievances and they will be attended to. If you don't like the name, can we, achieve what we are doing? And at the parliament, we can settle all these things, even flag, issue of flag, and anything. If you have grievances, can we work together? After working, we made decision in parliament. We can change, we can amend constitution. So I just want to leave it there. Thank you very much, sir. And I will hand the microphone to Onajite.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
Jite, if you don't mind, let me just commend Idudu for what he has said. I agree with you, and I wasn't accusing you of not doing that, but I think it needs to be done more. And don't forget you have enemies. You are doing it, but nobody's hearing it. They want to hear only what they want to hear, and so you need to get that message out a little bit more. Communication is extremely important. I'm completely in agreement with you. And when people want to demonize you and destroy you, they will find the worst that they can find about you and disseminate that information. And I understand that, So I'm completely in agreement with you. And the other thing I should have said is wisdom. Remember, if the Fulani are doing all these things and they're getting away with it, why? You need to know that there's some serious powers that are behind them and that are encouraging them. I'm not afraid to say it. Otherwise, why should they get away with all this nonsense and nobody's even defining them as a terrorist group, which is what they are? So at some point when you are coming up against powers like that, it's good to take a step back and say, what are the options available to us? Do we go against them blow for blow, gun for gun, word for word? You might have to come up with other strategies. But thank you for that, for enlightening me. I do appreciate the information.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. And I also thank you very much, Idudu Viemono. Okay, before I will be bringing my sister Area Otamono to you, because we're about coming closer to the end of the program. So as we're doing that, I will paste the number to call for this program. And as we're calling pasting the number, of course, we'll be receiving calls from every angle. And there's something I want you to, the viewers, to understand. Today is the 13th day of June 2021. The time now is 8:26 p.m. or should I say 7:26 p.m. Biafran land time. So which means we are live and we are direct. In case you come across this program, maybe somebody is streaming it live, you should know that, okay, this is when exactly they did this program. So now, of course, I'll be opening our lines and we'll be receiving calls. But our caller do interrupt us, which will be interrupted during as you're explaining or educating our people on the question thrown to you. So we will have a caller and we will interrupt you, and you can as well address the caller while you're also addressing the question being thrown to you. Thank you very much, Area Otamono. Can you please take the mic?
Yes, thank you very much, Asawa Eagle. So I'd like to throw this question to Sir Phillip Effiong. Sir, we have the idea, or we feel that you are based abroad. You kindly correct us if we're wrong. And we also feel like your siblings are also based, overseas. We would like to ask maybe why you are not in your fatherland and more reasons for that. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. First of all, being in my fatherland is not synonymous with patriotism. I can live in my fatherland and participate in destroying my fatherland. Indeed, a lot of the destruction that's being unleashed is being unleashed by people who reside there. Many of us actually contribute more, give more from outside. The other thing is, and remember, my name is Phillip Effiong. I'm a junior. And ever since that war ended, I've been made to feel ostracized in that country. You know, it's not something I plan to come and say, but this question has come up. So at some point, I really didn't care whether I stayed there or not, because I felt like I was still being perceived as a Biafran living in Nigeria. I had many experiences. I've been denied scholarship. I remember my father, and it's not just me, my family, my father trying to contest election 8 years after the war, and he wasn't allowed to because of his role in the war. So I came to that understanding that I would never become the best that I can become in Nigeria. But in spite of that, I still continue to give my best. There's nothing on record to show that I participated in rigging an election, in planning a coup. I've never stolen a penny of government money. I've never received a bribe or given a bribe to anybody. When I was a lecturer at the University of Calabar, I never sold handouts to students. I never threatened a female student and said, have sex with me, otherwise I'll fail you. In other words, I've always been a good citizen, but never felt like I was at home. I'm here because of a scholarship. The scholarship was called the Fulbright Scholarship, and it was given to me. I didn't even apply for it. I didn't apply for it. I was nominated for that scholarship when I was at the University of Calabar as a young lecturer. I was nominated by by the vice chancellor, who was a northerner, and he nominated me because of my portfolio, what I had achieved. And I got that scholarship and came to the United States. If Nigeria had anything to do with that decision, I would never have gotten that scholarship. It was the United States. And I never went to the embassy. They got my visa for me. They organized everything, paid for me to come out here. Otherwise, I would never have left because I did not have the means to leave. So let people know, because many times people think when you leave Nigeria, you're running away. I wasn't running away. I was given this on a platter of gold. And I was given it at a time that I was getting very frustrated. But like you know, and other people who lived in the eastern region or were former Biafrans, you know, we had to overcome so many obstacles to survive. And many are still doing that. So I welcomed that opportunity. And even after I graduated, I still came back.
Okay. Sir, we have been interrupted by our callers. Sorry. So, of course, we really love that, you know, the explanation you just gave concerning that. And of course, we truly appreciate that. We have a caller on the line right now. Hello, caller. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you. This is the best day I have had in my life. My name is Bright Daniel. I am calling you from the United States of America.
Okay, Master Bright Daniel, please, you have just 2 minutes to ask your question.
Thank you. God bless you. My question goes to our father. Please, my number one question to you is this: why is it that at the mention of the name Biafra, the face of people will turn, hatred, envy, jealousy, hate will exist at that particular point that you mentioned Biafra? Because I can remember flying from Kenya to the United States, putting on a Biafran flag, and the people around me, all of them turned, and I think the environment was not good again. That's my number one question. My number two question is this: President Buhari said he will teach the Easterner, the Igbos, a lesson. But can you tell us what is that thing that we don't know, which they always refer? What was, I want to know, you are the father to us. My question to you is, is there anything you knew that happened there, which they always refer to, that we don't want to do?
Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
I don't think they are hearing you clearly because your line is not clear. But your line is fainting. Your line is fainting. I don't think I can help that. But I think I grabbed one of his questions. The question was that why is it that at the mention of Biafra, there will be this kind of changing of attitude towards the Coastal region people, all Eastern region people, that when you mention Biafra, they will change attitude and every other thing. Can you quickly respond to that slightly?
Okay, I'll try. It's not just a name, a response to the name, it's a response to anything that's affiliated with that name. You know, I was telling you, you know, when I was speaking earlier about feeling ostracized. To this day, if I arrive at the airport, people look at my passport, depending on who looks at it. They either say, oh, you know, and say nice things, or they have a sarcastic, negative attitude. Listen, if you want to silence people and you want to subdue them, you try everything you can to demonize them, including the images and the emblems that represent them. That's what has happened. But if you look at Biafra, if you look at the inventions in Biafra, if you look at the survival, if you look at the intellectual spirit that was in Biafra, the inventions, then you know that it's not a place that should be condemned. And if you don't mind, Ejite, let me just add that most of my siblings are actually not abroad. Most of them are in Nigeria. There are just 3 of us. 2 of us are in the US. 1 is in the Netherlands, and the other 5 are still in Nigeria. And I was going to say that after I graduated, I went back to Nigeria, actually. But I already had children in the US, so part of my responsibility is to raise them here as well, because this is also their country.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you very, very much for that enlightenment. Okay. I will also be throwing some questions to you. Only Madam Josephine Erewa. I think we have other callers here. I want to also use this opportunity to tell the callers that if you are calling us, call us on WhatsApp only. You can see it there on the screen. You don't need to call us direct because the phone is now seized. My phone is seized right here. And the call is so much. I think I have about almost 80-something missed call right now. And there are calls coming in and in. So I will advise you to please, of course, we still have some few minutes with Sir Phillip Effiong Jr. So your question will be taken. He is going to attend to you. Just please call us on WhatsApp only. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm calling from Canada.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Nisi. So my question goes to both elders.
Okay.
So what are they doing to talk to our elderly forums like or Amazing, Idingo, and like Edwin Clark? These are elderly people. These people can talk to these people so that they can buy into the idea of us coming together as Easterners or as the type of Biafra or Biafran. So how did these 2 elderly people go about talking to these elderly people to convince them to buy into our story?
Okay, which means if I may understand your question better, how can our elders, our father and our mothers can contact or communicate with the elders on ground to buy into what we're doing? Okay, I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe they can hear that.
I don't know if Madam Josephine wants to. Anybody who, yeah.
Yeah, I think let Madam Josephine, please, I will want you to quickly respond to that question. The question was, oh my God. The question was, what are you... I think my line is jamming here. So the question was, what are you elderly people doing to make sure the elders in the on ground are into what we're doing? They buy the idea, from different angles, or should I say, from different opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, I'm Madam Annie Redbury-Sherewa, and any elder that is of my age, you know, definitely know, they witnessed the war, they saw the changes. And the first question that came is, why is it that coast ones, they got turned off at hearing the name Biafra? And from my own personal experience, and also from the lectures of our leader, we didn't know that Yoruba media was controlling the affairs of the media. So when the propaganda against Igbos started, they used Biafra negatively. And so the Yoruba media basically capitulated on it and biased the mind of everyone to hate Igbo. So they kind of twist Biafra and meddled it and embedded it into with Igbo. So that's the reason why we were so biased. That's why we're so poisoned. I know this for a fact that I used to feel that way before I became enlightened and I became wise now. You know, I usually don't want to hear Igbo. The minute I see an Igbo, I don't even want to sit with an Igbo. And I came to realize now that the Yoruba media are along with the hateful propaganda, and of course the Britain has a role to play in it. So all this together is why. But I'm hoping that they are now enlightened. They know now that, you know, Biafra comprises of all of us. And that outside, when we go out, we are looked at as Igbo. We are looked at as not the Eastern region. So I just want to clarify that. What do we want to do about this? When they are hearing us, we need to put more effort. We need to let people know the atrocities and the negativities that the Fulanis are doing in our territory. We need to let them know that they are victimizing Igbos.
Okay, Oni, sorry for the interruption. For you to, you know, be able to, I want you to actually answer this caller together with what you are already be educating our people on. So I think we have a caller here. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning,
Can you please speak louder, please?
Oh, I speak very loud now. I speak very, very loud now. Can you hear me now, please?
Yeah, okay, go ahead. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Biafra Effiong. My name is Biafra Effiong. I'm so glad today.
Your name is Biafra Effiong.
Yes, I'm calling you from British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
It's my pleasure to see my brother there. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to, you know, how to put my excitement to see my senior brother Phillip Effiong Jr. there in this platform. Sorry, I just woke up not really a long time that I saw this program. Very, very interesting, and I'm so happy.
Please,
my brother.
Yeah, my brother, please, you have just 2 minutes to quickly ask your question.
Yes. So my brother, I really want to ask this question because it's very important to me. And in this struggle, it's like some of our Kwajalein people back home there, or I don't know, maybe abroad, they are not really show more interest about this struggle. We have been in the struggle. I've been in the struggle for a long time. And my brother, my question is that what can you do to bring our brothers together for them to understand the reason that we need Biafra. Because most of them, when you talk about Biafra, they will tell you it's Igbo something, it's Igbo things like that. So all those shit, I don't really understand what they are doing.
Okay.
Brothers are working very hard. So my question is, so can you rename so so that we can get this thing? We don't have time. We want to go home. We want to go home. So my brother, please, I want you to help me and let us know. I mean, no, you need to be. I mean, no, you need to be. I mean, when the about two young people, the program about two young people, Canada. So you have a two young villages. God bless the other. God bless the people. Tell us what we can do to make sure our people is on the forefront, because they always say Biafra is for us. You know, we are fighting, we are the honor of Biafra. We know that we are the honor because our late Phillip Effiong was the one who even led this Biafra struggle to the end when our able leader Juku was in the asylum. So I mean, we don't supposed to lag behind at all. We don't supposed to lag. We're supposed to be at the forefront.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless Biafra. God bless you guys.
Thank you. I believe I have to switch to sorry for that.
No, that's wonderful. What he said in the language, he repeated. He just said that God will bless me, and then he asked the question again in the language. We need to understand that this is long-standing propaganda that goes back many years before many of us were born. This is propaganda that has demonized Igbos and has made us feel that we are somehow under the threat of Igbos. So that propaganda is still ongoing, even though the evidence shows that that's not true. And when I talk to my people, one of the things I tell them is, who's your real enemy? You've been given a state since 1967, and you've been given the opportunity to control your geographical space and your resources. How have your lives improved? Your lives have only gotten worse. The enemy is not Igbos. The enemies are within you, you're right there within your state. The political and economic elite who are ready to sell you and sell their consciences to make a profit, to make wealth. You should recognize that those are your enemies. Those who would collude with foreign national oil companies to take your wealth away from you, so that your hospitals are in such bad shape. Your roads were horrible until Akpabio came and fixed most of them. Your institutions are deteriorating. You know, you are living in poverty. You can't even enjoy something as basic as electricity supply. So it is for us to redirect, refocus on the real enemy. And it's hard to say, you know, within this space. I understand that time is against us, but we need to refocus and recognize who the real enemy is. And the enemy is not the people that we've lived with in harmony for generations, but those who would work with our enemies to undermine our lives, even though some of those people are right within our families, are from our ethnic groups, are speaking the same languages as we are. Those are real. When we understand that that's the real enemy, I think that will help us to come together and focus on that enemy, and not focus on what propaganda has told us, which is that our neighbors, the Igbos, are our problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will quickly let this caller ask his question. Then from there, we are going to be calling it a day because our time is almost up, which I would like to hear from our mother, Madam Josephine Erwa, to pass a message to the people of the coastal region, and likewise our father of the day, you are also going to be passing the message to the people. So we have a caller here. Caller, what is your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, I greet you guys. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
From here, my name is Aguchukwanaga.
Okay, Mazi, please, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, I will be very. My question will be very. I will be very concise. what I want to ask is just 3 questions. I want him to, he said that the Biafra is an ideology, and there are some people that did not buy the idea. And our leader has already been explaining everything about this and been going around and said that Biafra is.
Hello.
Oh my God! I think I missed this person's call.
Please let me make this clear. Najite, please give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Call us when you are calling in. Please speak direct to the phone. Start removing your face because it will not make your sound come lively. Please.
Your mic is off, GT.
Oh, thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Thank you very much, sir. We have a caller here. He's also a Biafran activist, which I believe he has a 1 or 2 questions.
Coming out clearly, brother?
Yeah, you're coming out clear. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Nawinwago.
Come again?
Calling from Vienna.
Can you please come again?
You hear me?
Yeah, okay, we can hear you loud and clear now. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Obina Umiwago. I am calling from Vienna.
Okay, Mazi, you have 3 minutes, please.
All right. Like I said, I know I have to start by appreciating you people on the studio, and our able brother that came out to clear some things that have been a little bit confusing to our brethren, especially those in the Biafran area. And I want to go straight to him. Very simple question. I don't know if he himself has a knowledge, maybe through his past reading, because I know he's a scholar, or maybe through the parents, our able leader in the name of Effiong. I want to know during the time of Biafra. I just want if he has any knowledge about the boundary, especially the present state as it stands now. If they are part of the Biafra, I mean, made up of this nation before the invasion of our colonial masters and those that are used as an instrument that are Japanese. So I wish I am started by see if I get a very positive knowledge because we have been fighting differently. This struggle has been we have been having different attacks from different places. Both the one of people written on that I don't know whether they are being implanted to take position among us. So I stand by to listen to him. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And of course, before you do that, before I will rephrase the question, I think I have to hold this phone because this is our last call for the day. This is our last call. This is our last call for the day. I believe you heard the question this person is asking that where did during the or before the Biafran War, where did our boundary actually started from?
Oh, the boundaries.
The boundaries of the old Eastern.
Yeah, the
old Eastern region. Yeah,
the old Eastern region. If you look at the 5 Igbo states, the Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Bayelsa Delta, not Bayelsa and rivers. Those were what constituted the old Eastern region. Having said that, I'm not a fan of strict boundaries. Our boundaries were always fluid. It's only after we got into the politics behind boundaries and resource control that we've really started fighting each other. For instance, there have been boundary wars. They only happened, probably most of them happened after the war. So those were the physical boundaries, but I really don't care about them. I think our boundaries should be fluid, and we should be able to continue to crisscross those boundaries and interact culturally and economically. Yeah, but those were the formal boundaries. And I can't speak for other people, but a lot of these boundaries, when they're created for political reasons and without real taking into consideration what the people actually want.
Of course. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. We are bringing the program to an end now. Well, quickly, I would like to hear from our mother, Madam Josephine Erewa. We want you, Ma, to address this issue of boundaries and that the caller actually asked, and your message for the people of coastal region of Biafran land. What message do you have for those people? How do you think, or from your own opinion, what are the reactions you think they should be reacting, the way you think they should be reacting to the current struggle and the current happenings in Biafran land of today? You have to do that before we then bring in our father, then we can call it a day. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, we all listen to our leader in his lectures. He educated us. Anywhere you see women tie 2 pieces of wrapper up and down with blouse and scarf, head tie, that's where the boundary begins. And when so that is the boundary. That is it. He described it very well.
Thank you. Then what is your message for the people?
That question.
Exactly.
Then, excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead. I said exactly. You've answered the question.
Okay. Then regarding coastlands, thinking that the issue of Biafra, you have been deceived. And I think that message is coming out now. Even myself talking to you, I just made it clear I'm an example of who is deceived, and now I witnessed the war. I was born in the East, and I share, that's why I use my own biography to tell you that coastlands, we are Eastern region. Eastern region is Bight of Biafra. And Bight of Biafra is Biafra. That's where the sun rises. So you are not Oduduwa, you are not in the West, and you are not Arewa in the North. You are Biafra. And the way they did it in Nigeria, now 3 areas, 3 sections, now them bring together Biafra, which is Eastern region, Western region, and North. Make I just put them in my own way. So you are not Western region, you are not Northern region, so you are Eastern region. You are Biafra, you are coastline. Even make I talk a little about Ishekiri, Calabar, anything when during Britain, when they bring war to Edo, where did they take Oborame to? Oborame, he died on exile. Where? They took him to Calabar for trial. So pay attention to that. Then let's talk about Nana. Nana of Ishekiri. Where did they take him to? They took him to Calabar for trial before they took him on exile to Ghana before he came back and ended, in Koko where he died. So why would they take Oborame and of Benin and Nana of Ishekiri to Calabar? If not be say na Eastern region and na Biafra will be. So Calabar played a significant role. But what they did when the Nigeria came, they made us if I see a Calabar person, I see that person different. I see an Igbo person, I see the Igbo person as because they don't use hateful propaganda. So that is it. And I hope I answered the question because they wouldn't have taken Oborame to Calabar. Taking Nana to Calabar for trial. Why they not take and go Lagos? Why they not take and go North? Why did Oni of Lagos or Oba of Lagos not come out during Nana trial? So make una they see, these are the propaganda, these are the mess they did to us. So you better wake up now Appreciate these programs, opening your eyes, educating you. Know that they have deceived us with divide and conquer to take what belongs to you, like Phillip Effiong son just said it. They are owning oil well and all that, but we want our Biafra. We are constituents. So we can begin to take care of us, or else we go to answer other people's name. I mean, you want level and he can't give you name. They don't change your name already. So this is it. My message to Constance is wake up, wise up, appreciate all these messages, all these people coming. Our leader, now we have Phillip, now we have Coastal Biafra TV. Appreciate all this, because if not be us, you not go get time. That the reason why they deceived us was because there was with no media to help us. But now we don't get the media now. That's what they did to Ojukwu and Phillip that made the war to go. But maybe now God wants them that way. Our leader has come now, and you know. Wake up, because now Biafrans will be. Anything when we now see, make una not they keep quiet. And they do. Let people know the atrocities. When put on this, they come, they are all strangers coming to take what belongs to you where God gave you. So wake up. And to my zone, don't be talking about Niger Delta and all that Royal Niger Delta company when they talk about. Don't say that, because it is never a part of Bite of Biafra. Those are part of Nigeria. So don't talk about it. So Constance, be white. We are Biafrans. And don't let them change our name and our identity and who we are and our destiny.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very, very much, Madam Josephine Erewa. Yeah, before we round it up, of course, we will be hearing from our father, the person of Sir Phillip Effiong Jr.
Please, I have something to say before you give me the microphone to round up.
Okay, then let me quickly give you the floor. Please, Midudu, take the mic, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was trying to say something here. You know, I want to make this statement. Before I do that, I will say on behalf of the Isoko people who are Biafrans, we acknowledge the presence of Sir Phillip Effiong the Jr., who humbly, answered to come in this program, to speak and educate the world, at large concerning the issues of Biafra. We say, be Ogenega Lowe means God bless you in the Isoko language. And I also want to make this a statement to the entire Nigeria, and especially Biafra and the coastal. They say that Igbo will marginalize us and this. And my question is this. Who is marginalizing you today? Fulani. Who is raping you? Fulani. Who is killing you? Fulani. The Sultan of Sokoto have about 23 oil wells. How many do you have in Isoko? How many do you have in Urobo? How many do you have in Izon? How many do you have in Calabar? How many do you have in Ibibio? How many do you have in Nkwane? How many do you have in Edo? How many do you have in Igbo? I'm asking you, who is marginalizing you? Who is stealing from you? Tiwa Dajuma from Middle Belt has about 18 oil wells in the so-called Niger Delta. Okay? In the so-called Niger Delta. And another thing again, they say, oh, because they're minority, Igbo are majority. So who are the one oppressing everybody today? Is it not the Fulani 1%? Fulani are 1% minority oppressing the 99% majority. So it is not about how many are we. It is about structure. When a country is structured, it will work fine. Not about some majority oppressing minority and all that. So I would like to draw the microphone for you. But once again, I will say to Phillip Effiong the Jr., thank you very much. Where Kobilo in Isoko language mean, well done, sir. Well done. It is a great privilege to be your president. I feel like I have spoken to your father already. I feel like I was speaking to our internal leader, General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. Thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother Dudu. Thank you so much. And of course, we appreciate you, sir. Please, I want you to quickly tell the mic. I think we've already superseded the planned time now, but of course, let us just hear from you, pass the message, you know, the things that you have actually, or should I say, the way you want things from your own perspective, the way you think things should go, especially in the coastal region of Biafran land of today. So please, sir, take the mic and pass a message to your people.
Thank you so much. You know, the expressions of gratitude for my being here, I appreciate, but I'm also grateful to be here. This is about all of us, and we're all interconnected across generations, across ethnic nationalities. So it's just as much a privilege for me to be here and for you to allow me to share my thoughts. Let's not make any mistake about the fact that what is happening in Nigeria today goes back to that war, and the atrocities, the violence, the desecration, the desecration of human life. I believe that's the word. Human lives were desacralized. You know, the brutality, the violence, the cruelty, you know, the viciousness of that war. And even before the war, when you hear about people's eyes being gouged out and women, their wombs open and children ripped from them, you know, that war and the pre-war atrocities were never addressed. And we created a culture of violence which is revisiting us today. It is all connected to that experience. And until we come to terms with that truth and address the reality of that war and at least apologize for those atrocities, you wait and see. I'm not a prophet of doom, but the violence is only going to get worse. And unfortunately, it is now coming to the doorsteps of people who didn't care about what happened to us. I want us moving forward to remember the Eastern Women's Revolution of 1929 and how they were able to accomplish that. The networking, without telephones, without internet, what was it that made them successful and get the colonizers to change some of their oppressive laws? Unity, the coming together, the oneness. And that is what we should be aspiring for. I do like what was stated earlier about how, you know, that is part of the goal of this movement. Someone had said that I'd called Biafra an ideology. No, Biafra is reality to me. Biafra, when I count my citizenship, I always remember that I was a citizen of that country during the war, and that country gave me life, gave me sustenance, nourished me. It will always be a part of my reality. So it's not just an ideology for me. It is real. And however, we need an ideology, a vision to move forward when we evoke the Biafran spirit, which is always what I talk about. When you evoke that spirit, you need to evoke it with knowledge and ideology. There has to be something there of substance that you will use to drive the vision so that the vision eventually becomes reality. That's what I meant when I talked about ideology. So thank you very much. I do appreciate the time with you. I've learned a lot, and I shared as much as I could. I gave it my best, and I'm sure there'll be room for more conversations. God bless everybody, and thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. And of course, we also thank our mother, the youngest lady that I've ever met in the struggle. The more she is young, the stronger she became. Thank you very, very much, Oni, Madam Josephine Erewa. And of course, we truly appreciate you, Sir Phillip Effiong Jr., for your time you know, despite all the all the busy schedule, we still find a way to fix it out. And thank you very much for coming. Of course, we'll be looking forward to have you here again for more enlightenment and for more conversation. Thank you very much. And thank you to the viewers all over the world who have been sharing, of course, and who have been commenting. We appreciate your comments because we do learn from your comment sometimes, because those comments are so amazing, and especially what we have today. So we say thank you very much, and we say we're Kobriwo, just the way my brother, my comrade, Idudu Oviemono have said. Yeah, I also thank you, Idudu. I think our sister Tamuno Tonye is not here to the program with us because of network issues. And we say thank you to everyone. See you next week Sunday, as usual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.